It's part of the United States of America, but it isn't a state. Known as the Island of Enchantment, it's a jewel in the Caribbean that boasts sun-kissed beaches, dramatic mountains, a rich colonial history, and great music. Where am I?
Puerto Rico!
Located at the heart of the Caribbean, Puerto Rico is around 100 miles long by 40 miles wide, with a population of some 4 million. From the historic capital San Juan, I travel east to El Yunque's rainforest before catching a ferry to beautiful Vieques Island. Heading back to the main island and then to Arecibo's observatory and the Camuy Caves, I end my trip at a native festival in Jayuya.
Puerto Rico!
Arriving in Puerto Rico's capital, at first sight, it could be any one of a dozen U.S. cities. But in fact, it's the second oldest colonial settlement in the Americas. Founded in 1521 by the Spanish conquistadors as a military stronghold, the city, blessed with an excellent harbor, was originally named by the Spanish Rich Port, or Puerto Rico. Soon, however, the name Puerto Rico was being used for the entire island, and the city became called San Juan. The old city of San Juan is a grid of about 45 blocks of cobblestone streets. It can easily be explored by one of these trolley buses. They run daily from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. throughout the walled city, connecting all the major sites, and best of all, they're free. The free ride around the cobbled streets is a great introduction to the delights of old San Juan. The beautiful colonial architecture has been really well preserved, but happily, it's not just an open-air museum piece for tourists. Full of local life, it's got a great Puerto Rican ambiance. In the 1540s, to protect San Juan and its harbor, the Spanish began building one of the most powerful forts anywhere in the New World, the Castillo San Felipe del Morro, more usually known just as El Morro. Benefiting from its strategic location and massive, virtually impregnable stone walls, El Morro was constantly expanded over the centuries to defend San Juan from attack by Spain's enemies. Even Sir Francis Drake, scourge of the Spanish Armada, could not breach these defenses. In 1595, he set up his fleet of 22 ships just out here, but his cannon were no match for the sturdy walls of El Morro. And Drake, who was considered to be nothing more than a pirate around here, suffered his first and only defeat. He died shortly thereafter. El Morro's walls were breached eventually, however, when it was successfully attacked during the brief but decisive Spanish-American War of 1898. From then on, Puerto Rico became a colony of the USA. In its long history, Puerto Rico has only been independent for a grand total of 3 months. This is their Capitol building, Puerto Rico's seat of government. But the statues outside are not Puerto Rican leaders, they're American presidents. Although not a U.S. state, Puerto Rico is in the U.S. Commonwealth. This allows Puerto Rico control over its internal affairs, but not foreign affairs or defense. It's very much the U.S. that calls the shots here. As only around 30% of Americans are said to have passports, the fact that Puerto Rico is U.S. territory is good news for U.S. tourists who've been coming here in droves for decades. In the 1950s, when casino gambling was illegal in most of the U.S., punters flocked to the Caribe Hilton to flash their cash in the casino and soak up the Caribbean sun. It was right here at the hotel bar in 1954 that Puerto Rico's national drink is said to have been invented by barman Ramon Monchito Marrero.
Bartender, hit me.
Made with pineapple juice, coconut cream, and rum blended with ice, the perfect pina colada is surely the definitive taste of the Caribbean. Now somebody pinch me. Back to reality. The drink and service has a relaxed Puerto Rican vibe, but the tipping culture is all American. 15 to 20% is expected. Economically, being part of the U.S. has benefited Puerto Rico, but national pride and the desire to be in control of their own destiny has led many Puerto Ricans to campaign for independence. At the Santa Maria Magdalena Cemetery, last resting place of many famous independence fighters, I meet Rafael Cancel Vasquez, who's active in the movement today. Is there an identity of Puerto Rico, or is it just part of the U.S.?
No, I would say there's two completely different identities, the Puerto Rican and the United States. Here in Puerto Rico, first, the major one is our language. Our first language is Spanish. We've had it for over 600 years. Our music, wherever you go in the world, and you mention Puerto Rico, people think about salsa. Yeah. It's part of our identity. People dance, people are very festive.
Music, yeah.
Very happy.
Fun attitude.
Yeah, definitely fun attitude. Wherever you go in Puerto Rico, there's always music.
So is there an independence movement going on?
Yes, there definitely is. And it actually, I would say the first time it happened, it was in 1868 when we were apart from Spain, a colony from Spain. The Puerto Ricans wanted to be independent from Spain, but then when the U.S. came in 1898, the majority of Puerto Ricans were pro-independence. And even though now in 2010 we're a minority, but still there's a strong independence movement. For example, I want independence for the island. I think we would be way better off if we were able to control our commercial relations with other nations and we didn't have to abide completely by U.S. regulations, which take care of U.S. interests, not necessarily Puerto Rico interests.
There's a well-known saying here that after a couple of drinks, every Puerto Rican is pro-independence. But in referendums over the years, less than 5% of Puerto Ricans have actually voted for it. And in fact, many people want the economic benefits of becoming even closer to the United States as the 51st state.
We have always been dependent of the United States, and they have been able to help us during all these years. We belong to them, they belong to us.
Puerto Rico's not different. It's different. And if we be a part of America, we have different opportunity and different, oh my God, how do you say it?
It's clearly thought that Puerto Rico is better off by itself, independent.
Probably closer to the United States. We share so many things in common right now. And I think from the standpoint of our political and economic future, that's probably the best way to go.
I'm sure we can do without them.
Evening is now upon us, and in Puerto Rico, that means getting ready to party. To get changed, I head to my hotel, The House. Set in the heart of the old town, it's a comparatively inexpensive but funky boutique hotel with around 25 rooms. In the reception area, they showcase the work of local artists, and the rooms are functional, clean, and extremely comfortable.
And this is a guayabera. It's a traditional fruit picker shirt, hence all the pockets, and it's ideal for wearing out to a mojito party, which is going on just upstairs.
After dancing the night away and drinking a few too many rums while I'm about it, the next morning I finally drag myself out of bed and head down to San Juan's historic Santurce Market.
Man, this really is a city where the music never sleeps and the rum is quite potent. Lucky for me, this being Puerto Rico, they have their own antidote. The coffee here is excellent. It's smooth and it's a great restorative. But I'm not here just for the coffee. I've come in search for a cigar that's a world record holder. How you doing?
In 2007, Patricio Peña became the proud holder of the somewhat bizarre record for rolling the world's longest cigar. Before taking me to see it, he wants to pass on his rolling skills. But my coffee hasn't kicked in yet, and I'm not a good student.
You just cut off the edges? Yeah. Just the edge, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? So you cut off the end,
Okay.
then come at it like this.
Yeah.
Real tight, right?
Yeah.
Pull out all the slack, yeah?
Cut it. Yeah.
Cut it?
No, my.
Not your finger. Cut it here, like this.
And the,
That. Oh no, did I cut off too much?
yeah.
Oh no. Okay, so then you get oil. What is
This
it?
Glue.
Oh, this is glue.
Yeah. This no.
You don't want to eat it?
No.
You want to smoke it? Nothing a glue can't fix? Okay. Oh, I see. Do you cover all of them like that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Cut it.
Cut it. And... Hey.
Yeah.
All right. That is fun. Can we see this thing? You have it here?
Yeah.
The world's longest cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah? Can you show me? Take my cigar here.
Yeah.
It was right here at the market that Patricio and his team took all of 3 days to roll the 135-foot-long, record-breaking cigar.
This is it here?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was a pipe.
This is cigar.
Wow. That is ridiculous. You think you're ever going to smoke it? No?
You.
I'm going to smoke. Yeah, right. So how many people to roll this?
9 people more.
9 people plus you, so 10.
Yeah. 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, well, you've done it, my friend. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You've made your mark.
Puerto Rican cigars have a very long history, too. When Columbus first arrived in the Americas, he was amazed by the sight of the native Taino Indians smoking leaves. Just as tobacco was unknown in Europe until 1492, so too were exotic Puerto Rican fruits like pineapple, guava, and papaya. In time, along with slaves, the Spanish brought other fruits and vegetables from Africa, such as mango, watermelon, and plantain. Today, enjoying Puerto Rico's delicious fusion cuisine, part native Caribbean, part African, part European, is one of the best things about coming here. The seafood is superb, and there are lots of other great local specialties to try out, such as lechon, whole barbecued pig. Barbecues have been popular here for centuries, and the word itself comes from the native Taino word barabiku, meaning an open fire. I can't wait to try out Puerto Rico's delicious cuisine myself. And I found a guide who's taking me to his favorite local eatery. Something appears to have got lost in translation, however, and it looks like my dreams of dining out in style are going to be dashed.
So what is it called now?
It's called Farol. It's one of the oldest places here in Piñones.
Yeah?
And they do a lot of typical Puerto Rican fritters, which is, well...
Fried critter?
No, yeah, just about. You see, this is,
that looks good.
This is alcapurria. There's mashed plantains where you could have crab and meat. If you want to try crab?
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Prepárame dos alcapurrias de buey.
So the first is a plantain mashed up?
It's mashed up with spices. You put a little bit of oil in it. It's fresh. It all has to be fresh. You mix a little bowl on it. It makes a little canoe on it. Then you put some crab.
Oh, I see. And how long does it cook?
It should take around maybe 15 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
There she goes. All right, here we go.
Over here.
Thank you.
Just set the whole thing here. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
Gracias.
see, it's good.
There you go.
It's the local beer.
Yes.
Medalla. Cheers. Salud.
Salud.
Tasty. I can't imagine it's very healthy, but
Put a little spice on it.
salsa picante. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be hot. Whoa,
Good kick.
I put too much on. I put that salsa on. Now I know why they dance the salsa around here.
Yes, sir.
That is hot. They're going, whoo, let's dance it off.
Buen
It's
provecho,
hot.
buen provecho.
A sweet plantain at the end. You get it's a nice little sweet kick at the end.
It's good kick.
It's time to leave San Juan and go see the rest of Puerto Rico. First, I'm off to El Yunque. Luis is going near there too, and is taking the same bus. But if he's looking for good company, he's out of luck.
Yunque. I got a belly full of batter and beer, and it's time for Zay to get some Z's on the way to El Yunque. Hello.
One legacy of the USA's huge influence over Puerto Rico is that the car is king, and public transport is very limited. There are no trains and not many buses. I'm lucky this one's going my way, but sadly, travelers often have no choice except to hire a car.
Lots of little beaches around here, like little ponds, and really great.
All that heavy batter and beer has made me sleepy, and within minutes of getting in my seat, I'm fast asleep.
When I was a kid, I used to come here. There were beaches, there's ponds and everything, and lots of fun all day. And yeah, okay.
From San Juan, my journey takes me 30 miles east to one of Puerto Rico's star attractions, El Yunque National Forest. El Yunque's name comes from the native Taino word for the area, meaning white lands, a reference to the usually cloud-covered mountaintops. One of the best preserved rainforests in all of the Caribbean, El Yunque is home to over 240 species of trees and a lot of rare wildlife. I climb up to a treetop observation point with local guide Rob Rios to see if we can spot the highly endangered Puerto Rican parrot.
Whoa, we are high up here.
Yes, we are.
And we're secure, for sure?
For sure. You're
Okay.
secure, and we're at the height of where the birds fly.
I'm just gonna admit it's a little bit scary. I'm on this tiny little platform here, hanging on to branches that have flexibility.
Yeah.
But you're cool with it. You do this all the time.
all the time. Plus, you're safe, and what better than being up here?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely
It's
lovely.
clear day and beautiful.
Yeah. This is what the birds see all the time. All right, so once you're up here, what do you do?
All right, we get our binoculars. First you want to do is you want to hear your vocalization, see if you hear the birds vocalizing when they're about to fly out.
Do you hear any right now?
No. They must be eating right now.
An hour later, and we still haven't seen a single parrot.
What's the best time to come up here?
When they first come out, that's when they first wake up and they're gonna go get their food.
You climb this tree in the dark.
Yeah, with
That
headlamps.
is nuts.
Yeah.
You gotta check your head. It's a shame we didn't see any parrots, but not at all surprising, as even here in the Puerto Rican parrot's last refuge, they're extremely rare. Only around 50 or so are thought to remain alive in the wild. In order to try to build up the wild population, a captive breeding program has been established here in El Yunque, as Maricel Lopez Flores explains.
We put it here and we allow them to habituate here, to stay here and to find a mate.
You notice some flirting going on.
Yeah,
They're
with the
pecking at
beak,
each other's
yeah.
beaks.
There you go.
think, okay, let's put these two together.
We put them here, we check further genetics. If the female or mate that they find is not viable, like their testicles are damaged or their ovaries are damaged, we'll split that pair and we find another mate to them. Sometimes they can lay any eggs, but they're good foster parents. They're good mom and dad, and they will raise the baby. So if that happens, then we'll allow them because they can be good parents.
This is a lot of similarities to the human behavior.
Yeah.
One big difference between parrots and humans, however, is that you can't tell just by looking at a naked parrot whether it's male or female. And so, to check which birds to try to pair off and to check their fertility, Project vet Antonio Rivera has to open the birds up.
Oh, there you go.
This is a gas anesthesia?
Yes.
So this is a parrot that hasn't reproduced in a while, so now you're trying to
Exactly.
check out the situation.
There's different situations, basically. We have pairs that have been first in the past, and for some reason have stopped breeding. We have others that produce infertile eggs. We have others that have eggs that don't go to term, don't develop well. So there's different problems that they may have that we try to look at. This is the muscle of the leg here, and that's the area where I'm going to go in.
Okay.
Now I make the excision just behind the tight here, okay? There should be just a little bleeding, not much. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in and puncture the ear sac.
You're just trying to puncture it?
Yes. Okay. The scope is very helpful because it let us go in.
So now everything you're putting in here we can see on the screen.
Exactly. So if you look here, it's a bit cloudy. When they get infections, the ear sac becomes cloudy, okay? That is the heart down there. You see it beating there?
Sure do. Pumping.
Yes.
He's a little scared, huh?
Well, they have a very fast heart rate. They could be resting and have 300 beats per minute. So we're quite different from us. Oh, there we go. We're dealing here.
You see the
with
problem?
a female, and she's very beautiful.
Okay, how
and
do you know it's a
active.
female?
That's the ovary. Look how beautiful that ovary is. That thing is the yellow body, and that's where she ovulated before, okay?
Oh, I
One
see.
egg came out of there.
So each of these could potentially hold an egg?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. So far we see nothing wrong with her.
Yes, this bird is good for breeding.
So her reproductive system is actually healthy, she just hasn't found the right guy yet. She's picky.
Exactly. We have to find her a good male, basically. Just putting a stitch here to close the skin.
Yeah. I've got a jacket that needs some mending. Can you help me with that, please? You're very good at sewing.
She looks good, you
She
see?
looks great.
The future of the Puerto Rican parrot seems to be in good hands. Once so nearly extinct, its numbers are now growing year on year.
All right. There you go. Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey.
For me, I've got a lot of Puerto Rico still to see, so it's time to move on. From El Yunque, it's just a short hop to the port of Fajardo, from where I board a ferry to the island of Vieques. Situated less than 10 miles from the main island of Puerto Rico, Vieques is blessed with some of the most beautiful coastline in the entire country. At just 20 miles long and 4 miles wide, Vieques wasn't a prime target for the early Spanish colonists, and it was only in the early 19th century that they built forts like this one to take the island under their control. Soon afterwards, as in the rest of Puerto Rico, the Americans replaced the Spanish as the new colonial overlords here. And since World War II, the U.S. military has had a huge impact on the island.
During World War II, the U.S. Navy decided to use this island as a weapons test site. 2/3 of Vieques were locked off for military use, a situation which, despite protests, persisted until 2003. Now, the military have withdrawn, and though parts of the island will never be safe for human habitation, other parts are being reclaimed.
At beautiful Chiva Beach, which was until recently off limits to islanders, I meet up with Mitsuka Bermudez, who was once active in the anti-occupation movement.
Mitsuka, you were here living on the island during the military occupation, yeah?
Yes,
What was that like?
It was like being in a battle zone because there were live bombing here in Vieques.
Jeez, is that scary?
Yeah. They had like 2 bases,
Right.
and the civil part was right in the middle of the
That's
island.
ridiculous. So did they stop because people were protesting then?
One accident happened once. They missed a target, and they hit the OP-1. It's an observation point, and there was a local guard there, and he was killed. So all Puerto Rico got together and, started this case against the Navy here in Vieques.
Yeah, that's unnecessary. They're just practicing and people are losing lives.
Yeah, and a lot of people died of cancer.
Cancer?
Of cancer here.
From the chemicals that were left over afterward?
Exactly. It didn't happen before.
Right, right. Yeah. How else
So-
can you explain it?
Yeah.
You think you'll ever forgive them?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah. As long as they're gone.
As long as they
Forever.
stay out.
Ironically, as a result of Vieques being used for practice bombing, the island escaped overdevelopment. And today, the former military zone is a haven for wildlife and a protected federal nature reserve. In order to try to restore the area to its original state, Mitsuka runs a local initiative to reseed previously inaccessible beaches with native flora.
All right, Luz, what are we doing here?
Well, you're trying to recover the natural ecosystem in Vieques.
The natural ecosystem of
Yeah, the
Vieques.
original one.
The original one.
This is uva playera in Spanish. It's a beach grape, and the scientific name is Cocoloba ubifera. Marine turtles use this kind of vegetation to make the nest.
Okay.
The soil in many former military areas is still contaminated with harmful chemicals. Even today, many areas of the island are still closed off, awaiting decontamination. But hopefully, within a few years, all of the island will soon be cleared for access, like Chiva Beach.
You did a good job.
Good job.
That looks fantastic.
You're ready to do the nest.
Look at our new addition. Okay, I'll do the next one.
As the island gradually opens up, Vieques is building a growing reputation as an eco-tourist destination. In particular, horse riding is a popular pursuit. All across Vieques, you notice a lot of elegant horses that seem to be stray. I meet up with Elizabeth Byrne from Virginia, who has a large herd of Paso Fino horses.
I noticed these are all branded. Is there a problem with theft around here?
Well, yes and no. Mainly, as you see, there's horses roaming all over the island. Everybody thinks they're wild, but they're all owned. So it's mainly just a form of showing your ownership over a horse.
So the horses we're seeing on the street, the side of the street, are actually not wild, but they're owned, just lazy owners.
Yeah, lazy owners, yes.
All right.
Lazy horsemanship, lazy horse keeping, we might call it.
So people will hop the fence and ride them, or
Yeah, that
take them out
happens from
even?
time to time. Yeah, it's more like, oh, I see a horse I want to ride. I'm going to go
Does
for it.
everybody ride horses here?
For the most part, yeah.
And where are we going today?
As long as you're on a horse, you can pretty much go anywhere you want.
Nice. All right, well, let's do it. So what does it mean to be a Paso Fino horse?
Well, Paso Finos, they have a very definitive step. They have Paso Fino literally translates to fine step. The Paso Fino breed originates from Andalusians, Spanish Genet, and Barbs that were brought over by Columbus on his second voyage. And they were bred specifically for this smooth, 4-beat lateral gait.
And they always walk like that?
For the most part, yes, they have a very natural gait, even babies, straight off the ground. And then there's Kona. Not throwing that coconut for you.
And they all lived happily ever after.
Another great thing about Vieques is that you can stay overnight in stylish luxury and yet still be eco-friendly at the same time. Unusually for such a swanky hotel, the Hicks Island house, amongst other energy-saving measures, has no air conditioning. Vieques is blessed by cooling winds, and the hotel makes the most of this. Each main room has only 3 walls, with one side open to the elements. All the water used here isn't flushed away into drains, but flows straight out to water the gardens and fruit trees.
It's an interesting concept for a hotel not to have a 4th wall. It does have an optional shutter there for storms. Ah, so open, I love it.
To find out more about the hotel, I meet up with the architect and owner, John Hicks.
It's quite a place you have here. What inspired this whole open, one with nature format?
What we wanted to do is to give contrast to our clients' experience. So if they're living in a Manhattan apartment or in suburbia, when they come down here, they're actually living in nature and being in nature and feeling nature. One of the wonderful things that happens here is that we have this trade wind that's constantly blowing, keeping insects away and keeping you cool at night, and you're experiencing the Caribbean experience instead of being in an air-conditioned environment in a sealed-off resort.
You definitely get that feeling that you're one with nature. In the 70s, the concrete got a bad rap, but you use it and celebrate it.
Well, I don't know what the bad rap is. I think in London, as an example, it got very mildewy and black, if I remember, along the Thames. But here, I want to integrate the buildings into the landscape so they aren't painted and shouting out.
I got to ask you this. What's people's take on the whole open outdoor shower?
They love it. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, there you
it's
go.
It's liberating.
Yeah, exactly.
At first you're like, I wonder who's watching, then you're like, who cares?
And in my case, nobody would want to.
From Vieques, I return by ferry to Fajardo before driving 80 miles or so to the western side of the island to visit the Camuy River Caves National Park and the Arecibo Radio Telescope nearby. I set off really early in the morning on the lovely drive across the island through Puerto Rico's lush landscape.
We're going up to the Camuy Caves. It's an early start today because if it rains in the afternoon, it gets very dangerous. The water gets trapped there and then can flood us out.
The Camuy River has eroded through the region's soft limestone to create huge sinkholes and caves. A renowned adventure destination, it's the 3rd largest underground river system in the world. I meet up with Rossano Boscarino, who's going to guide me through Camuy's complex underground network of river caves.
We have all these streams coming together, becoming Rio Ángeles, Rio Piedras, Rio Criminales. 3 rivers. They join, and this is the limestone. This is where they sink. as a sinking river. So when it rains up here strong, you know, this is a serious business. Flash floods occur, you know, like 1 foot per minute.
They only come in the afternoon?
Usually from 3 up. Okay. But weather patterns are changing. We've had a few earlier ones, so you know, we have to assume the worst.
The fear of getting caught by afternoon rain means we can't delay. But even so, I need to learn how to rappel down into the 250-foot deep sinkhole that leads to the Rio Angeles. Rosano gives me a quick rundown.
This is the rappel rack. With this, we create friction so we could go down safely, not fall. We're gonna be going down 250 feet. That's like a 25-story building. Okay? Only 3 steps, that means this is so easy. Yeah. Even a caveman can do it. The first one is get in position, which consists of spread your legs, lay back, and have fun. I've said that before. If you're away from the wall, you can see where to put your feet, see? You need to get perpendicular to the wall, okay? Don't get too perpendicular, like 90 degrees, like, oh my God. Your torso is gonna be forward, and you're gonna get in the shape of an L. Okay, second step and third step will be natural, because at the beginning it's like, they push, they pull, they lower, they squeeze, oh my God, I'm getting confused. Just do it, it will happen.
Time's moving on and we need to head underground. To get to the top of the sinkhole leading into the abyss, we have to cross by zip line.
Here I go! Whoa! Don't look!
I'm gonna talk like Mickey all day now.
That was the easy bit. The 250-foot descent to come is a whole different thing.
Oh my gosh. This is nuts. My heart race is going crazy. I'm sweating, shortness of breath. I'm actually a lot more scared than I thought I was gonna be. This is no joke. Oh, this is gorgeous. It's an adventure. Man, I thought I was gonna pass out. Started to get lightheaded halfway through. My legs are numb. So how did I do?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. You're fighting gravity.
I was fighting it.
I saw you at one point, you had like the death grip. Yeah. You want to let go of that rope.
Yeah.
But that's normal.
Yeah.
But you did real good. Some people, the first time they come down, they pee on themselves.
Yeah.
But don't pee, there goes the harness.
So we're going into the cave now.
Going into the cave, we're going to get wet, wild, and dirty.
All right.
Heading into the mouth of the cave, gouged out of the rock by the underground river, it looks peaceful enough. But it would be no joke to get caught down here after a tropical downpour.
It's very slippery.
That's up.
It's time to take the plunge and swim our way in and out of the cavern before the afternoon rain rolls in. The bats are at home here, but for us, the cavern is a dangerous place to hang about. Unlike bats, we can't cling to the cavern roof to escape a flash flood. Finally, we make it back to the outside world, and it's time to celebrate. Just a few miles away from the Camui River Caves, Puerto Rico's unusual limestone landscape is also home to the country's most famous scientific installation.
It's Puerto Rico, Jim, but not as we know it.
The Arecibo radio telescope was built by the Americans during the Cold War space race in 1963. Scientists wanted to construct as large a dish as possible to monitor the Earth's atmosphere and the universe beyond. The size of the dish was more important than it needing to move, and so this site was chosen specifically to take advantage of a vast limestone sinkhole, which was covered over by the dish from rim to rim. Half a century later, this massive radio telescope is still at the forefront of scientific research. I'm given a tour by the director of the Arecibo Observatory, Mike Nolan.
The Arecibo Observatory is the largest radio telescope in the world. It's also the most powerful radio transmitter in the world.
And what kind of stuff are you transmitting out into space?
We transmit radio waves mainly to look at the atmosphere and to look at the planets. They're microwaves. It turns out it's the same as your microwave oven. And right now we're in the power supply for one of those radars. So we make 2 million watts of radio waves. It takes a lot of electricity, and we generate these radio waves to send out at whatever we're looking at that day.
And how do you monitor that?
Well, what we do actually is we transmit our signal, we turn off the transmitter, and we turn on the most sensitive radio receiver in the world, which is right next to it, and look at the echo that comes back from whatever we're looking at.
One reason Arecibo does this is to photograph and track the orbits of asteroids, not least because it's just possible that one day an asteroid might be on course for a catastrophic collision with planet Earth. But happily, Arecibo hasn't found any asteroids that threaten the end of the world just yet.
This is one of the first good ones we got. This is my favorite space potato, we call it. Yeah. It's about 6 kilometers across, and this is a picture that we took on each of several different days. And we took this when it was 10 million kilometers away.
So you've proven you can capture images of things out in space. $24 million question. If there's life out there, would you capture that as well?
One of the other activities we do at the observatory is to look for example, molecules in other galaxies. And we have in fact detected the kinds of molecules that form life, what we call prebiotic molecules, in other galaxies out in the universe.
That's exciting.
It is exciting.
If life does exist elsewhere in the universe, then just maybe, on some distant planet, it's advanced and intelligent. If aliens do exist, Arecibo will almost certainly be the first place on Earth to know about it. Remarkably, signals received here from outer space are being monitored by the SETI project, or Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. Up until now, of course, no alien transmissions have been detected. But surprisingly, perhaps, many serious scientists are convinced that they're out there, somewhere. Back to Earth, and it's time for the last part of my journey through Puerto Rico. I'm heading up into the Central Highlands, and from Arecibo, my route takes me past the coffee town of Maricao before I end my trip at a native festival in Jayuya. Maricao is renowned as the home of Puerto Rico's best coffee. The altitude, climate, and fertile volcanic soil in the region make it perfect for coffee growing. Each year, to celebrate the end of the coffee harvest, the town puts on a party. Traditionally, this was to thank the plantation workers for all their hard work during the year. But today, everyone's welcome. It's a lot of fun, and the coffee's great. Maricao was once known as El Pueblo de las Indieras, the town of Indian settlements. During the Spanish conquest 500 years ago, towns throughout the Central Highlands provided a last refuge for Puerto Rico's native Taino people as they fled from the conquistadors. 25 miles east of Maricao In the town of Jayuya, I'm ending my trip at another festival which honors the traditions of the Taino. I meet up with Elba Annika Lugo, a leading light of today's Taino independence movement, who explains why it is that the festival takes place on the anniversary of the Spanish discovery of Puerto Rico.
We don't celebrate, we commemorate. Its significance is very sad for us because they came to kill our people, to steal the gold, to destroy everything. So that's why we don't celebrate it.
Was there resistance, or did you guys just give in?
We are not extincted. We are just disseminating. And the type of society, collective society we used to live, we had to change it because our lives were in danger.
Right.
So we consider evolution as part of our lives. But our essence is the traditional way, and the modern way is the adaptation to our lives. We have to continue with the future generations in order to let them know we are here. The Taino is alive.
One key feature of traditional Taino culture was a ceremonial ball game called Batu. A simplified demonstration is being put on for the crowd, and I'm invited to take part. Apparently, you have to try to keep the ball in the air, but without using your hands or feet. Should be interesting.
Fuerte el aplauso para la gente de National Geographic.
This place has it all. A vivid history and great natural beauty. But its greatest resource is its people. Everyone I've met seems genuinely intent on taking care of the environment and their culture. I believe that with a fair wind in their sails, Puerto Ricans could soon be leading the way in ecotourism. In that, I wish them well. Buena suerte, Puerto Rico.